And we are live once again with an old friend of mine.
Not that old.
Old in respect of all the people that we're having on this weekend, I've known you the longest.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So that's in that sense, you're an old friend.
Oh, that's kind.
In the age sense, you're older than the hills. Let's be honest.
You are the oldest person I know, so it all works out.
How old are you, Alex?
Take a guess, because I have to figure it out too. I was born in '64, so in November. So that's.
So you're a bit older than me, yes.
50-something. I'm not there yet, put it that way.
I would have guessed you were closer to my age, huh?
Oh. Now, what's your age? Because I don't remember.
43.
33?
No, 43.
Oh, 43. Wow. I remember I was going to 43. Let's see. All right, you got the YouTube up going?
Yep.
All right. Somebody's watching now. I guess that's you.
I don't know. Usually what's happened every time I restart is it takes a minute or two, and then we get people filtering back in.
I'd expect that, yeah. Have you been present for everything so far today?
Yep.
Wow, that's really great.
Mostly I've just sit here with everything muted, but I've been here.
That's awesome.
And I'll be here all through today and all through tomorrow as well, just to make sure everything runs smoothly.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what the time delay is. I'm really curious.
I don't think it's long. Probably 60 seconds or less.
Yeah. Was that? Oh, well, that's also good because you can cut out curse words.
I could if I had to
I know that's
figure that out. I have no idea how.
Sure.
And actually, I think the one person watching would be you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah. Well, we'll play it by ear. We'll see if anyone shows up. If not, we could just shoot the crap, I guess.
Yeah, we could always shoot the breeze and be funny. And if nothing else, the stream will be live on YouTube forever, so people will be able to watch it.
Oh yeah, that's kind of weird. So what should we? Is there a protocol? Is that something we should do?
Why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Okay.
What you're going to do?
Because this is recorded, people will see it down the road.
Yep.
Aliens will come down in the future and discover the time capsule, and this may decide whether they're going to destroy the Earth or not. I get it. I say, Grays, go for it. My name's Alex Strang. Alex is short for Alexander, but no one really calls me that except when I was real little. My mom, if you got mad, would call me by my full name. But I think that's what parents do. They call you by your full name when they're angry at you. But it's pretty much Alex. And my grandmother would call me Al sometimes, once in a while, which just sounds like someone saying "ow." That they got hurt, so it's not so great. But yeah, Alex. I was born in Glasgow, Scotland. Came over here when I was really young, and still British citizen. I'm a resident alien now, and I've been living in Philadelphia pretty much most of my life, for better or for worse. And that's the bio. That's the party question stuff out of the way. I have had a really strange and weird and varied career. Mostly working for myself, to be honest. I've had jobs, had them in the past. I remember that. Was never good with the punching in and punching out thing. I think I had one job, like a job where you had to punch in and punch out, and I couldn't even handle it. I couldn't process any of that. The whole thing was completely confusing. But yeah, I've been a freelancer for pretty much all the time. I started out as a screenwriter, writing film scripts, and then I quickly got into writing commercials, TV commercials and stuff like that. And that evolved into writing a lot of pitches. I became a pitch writer for, say, producers or directors who wanted to get a project greenlit. So I'd write the pitch for them, hopefully that the project would be greenlit. And that was pretty successful. That was actually really good because it was a little bit of marketing combined with creativity. Sometimes the client really didn't know what they wanted. So it was a lot of me figuring stuff out for them, which was cool. And then at some point, I'd always drawn comics, and so that was never stopped. And I started drawing comics, and I really didn't publish a whole lot. I published a little bit over the years. It's a lot of work, And I was interested specifically in drawing like a kind of manga kind of format, which means a lot of drawing. And I think at least the last time I checked, the average number of page count for a manga artist in Japan was like, I want to say 20 pages, maybe more. Say between 50 and 25. I could be wrong. Don't sue me. While in America, the comic book market is very small, and your average comic book artist might do what, like 2 pages. Mm-hmm. So I trained myself to draw really fast and large quantity, and I did a lot of that. But it does take over your life. And what happened at some point is I started designing and publishing my own games. I've always been doing that for fun and for like my friends, and because I like playing games and kind of wanted the games I wanted and couldn't necessarily find them out there, so I would wind up making my own. And then I decided to take the leap and start publishing, and that was really amazing experience, which I recommend anyone, if they can do it, to do it. I have a lot to say about why publishing games is a great way to go. I did that for a long time. The whole thing, the whole retail market, distribution market. I did everything, the sales, the whole 9 yards. And then that evolved. I started doing events for, just a long story, sorry. I did events that were like games, but on a larger scale for like groups, like team building events and parties, kind of more live, social, interactive events. Same concept, they were games, but explode into a larger scale. And so my career wound up being a combination of doing like corporate team games, publishing my own games, sometimes working with other publishers, and once in a while drawing comics, but generally doing tons of writing and drawing all the time. I always say writing is like the one skill, probably in my mind anyway, the most transferable skill out there. And if you can write well and you enjoy writing, and you certainly don't mind rewriting, which is a big thing, you can go almost anywhere with that. And I think drawing is pretty close second to that. You have anything to say, Kevin?
I just had to unmute myself real quick so I didn't accidentally interrupt. But no, I think that's a very good introduction.
All right.
And I agree. I mean, look at the last 2 guests and the next guest we're gonna have. You're all a bunch of writers, so I think it's a good example of your point.
And we're
about
all
how far that can take you.
Nuts, right? Completely insane, I assume.
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, okay.
Thinking I'm a writer and I'm definitely bat
right.
done crazy.
Insane's the new sane.
Exactly.
Today I'm because I do a lot of drawing, and I always drawn monsters. It's one of my favorite things to draw, and ever since I was the littlest I can remember, I used to draw. I remember drawing like pages and pages of little tiny monsters, like dozens and dozens of them, filling up like a whole book. I remember going down to the public library. This is dating myself. Going back to, I was going to say Xerox the pages to make a little booklet out that I could give away or even sell. And this was like really formative age. And then like even throughout school, I would draw my own comics, and this is really dating myself. I'd run them on a mimeograph machine. If anyone remembers what that is and knows what that is. And sell them for like a quarter. And I was always doing that. I became kind of not obsessed, but I became very aware that I really enjoy drawing creatures. Creatures is something I really like the best. I like other things too, but creatures by far the most. I find it the best creative exercise. And because I also grew up with a steady diet of Japanese TV, and that's pretty much all I watch, even now, that's all I really like. And because fantastical creatures are an inherent part of Japanese culture, both folk culture and pop culture, I kind of glommed onto that, and it just seemed like a natural fit. I mean, a lot of the things I'm not, don't give you cultural appropriation. You can if you want, but I think it's just a fit. I think it's a psychological fit. For some reason, I think in terms of fantastical creatures as being a driving force behind a lot of things. So I kind of start psychologically from there, and I think in terms of strange creatures that could not exist on Earth, or defy normal physics, possibly not an animal that's been mutated so much. Like I noticed there's a big difference in Eastern and Western creature design. This is really painting with a broad stroke, but I noticed that generally speaking in the East, the focus is on bizarre creatures that are not of this world, incomprehensible to humans, whether they're alien or supernatural or something else, or maybe they became human, but they've lost their humanity. Whereas in the West, creatures are often dealt with like regular animals that are out of control, either from science or sorcery, but don't have necessarily the same kind of noble spirit, if you will. They kind of above human, almost divine kind of inherent core. Of course, there's plenty of exceptions, but that's been something I've always felt and noticed. So anyway, this story's a long way around to get to the point where I'm here doing a yokai drawing event, and I draw kaiju and all kinds of strange creatures all the time. And for those who are interested in kaiju and other Japanese monsters, it's not uncommon to compare them to their root, which really is yokai. Japanese, I mean, Shinto and other aspects of Japanese early culture was all about different creatures that represented all kinds of things, whether they represented some kind of fear, a human fear, or some other natural phenomena, or all sorts of sometimes very abstract concepts. Yokai were the original kaiju. They are very fantastical. There's a limitless number of them. And in fact, a lot of the kaiju that have existed since like the 60s are reminiscent, if not complete, takes on yokai, the past. So there is a huge amount of overlap between the fantastical creatures of yore and of today. So today, because this is a paranormal event, I'm making the shift slightly from kaiju to yokai, and I'm going to be drawing creatures, original creatures, hopefully based on suggestions from the viewers. And I'll outline a couple of basic concepts to help guide any suggestions, if you guys have any. Oh, thank you, Chibi Dicebotch. Nice to see you. If you know anything about yokai, you probably know a lot of the popular, kind of more common ones. But really, if you delve into it, if you do your research, it will never end. There is dozens and dozens, hundreds of variations of creatures. Many have incredibly bizarre, disturbing tales that explain them. Sometimes there's no known explanation for why they are the way they are. And also, there's also a lot of variation in interpretation. Different historians have interpreted them different ways, so even the way they look could vary greatly. But there's a few kind of real basic principles about yokai that might help you guys give me some suggestions. A lot of yokai, this is not all of them, but a large segment of yokai represent natural phenomena. Whether it's a tsunami or an earthquake or something smaller like a strange sound in the wind or a jumping into water it's too cold. Natural phenomena, and they're kind of not anthropomorphized, given form as yokai. Many yokai have that origin. Other yokai, well, a very common category of yokai are based on objects. You've probably seen quite a few that have a kind of object-like root, and that's because there's a whole category of yokai that are based on objects that have reached a certain age. If an item has become old enough, and I forget exactly how many, 100 years, I forget how many years is the standard, it can gain life and become a kind of spirit creature on its own. And there's all kinds of other yokai that are really based on human tragedies, very much more like traditional ghosts that we think of in the West. And I'm going to ask you guys, whoever you are, chat me some ideas. I'm going to show you a couple of real simple examples I did just before I started this chat, based on my wife's suggestions. And we'll take it from there. Feel free to chat me any question at all. And he can be about anything, quite honestly, about creatures, monsters. I am no way professing to be an expert on yokai, by the way. That's for other people to do. I like research. I do pretty good with research, but it's not my main focus. My main focus is to create new work. So I will not know a lot of references. I'm very bad at history. I fell asleep during history class all the time. But I take inspiration from things, and I try and stay true to the core of the idea. Anyway, I'll show you a couple things real quick. They're very quickie drawings I did. All right. All right, first up we have an entire ream of paper with something in it. Wait. All right, this is not the one I was going to show you. But anyway, this is a creature that, it doesn't have a name yet, of course. This is a creature that is basically responsible for stealing all the pens and other writing implements just before you actually need them. Whenever you're absolutely right the last second ready to grab a pen to write a check or something like that, it's gone. You can't find it. No matter how many you buy, no matter how you store in your house, you can never find one when you need it. It also explains why people accuse other people of stealing pens from each other when they probably really didn't. This creature is actually responsible. So there you go. This is a quickie. I probably drew this in like a few minutes. So this is based on a suggestion of an idea. You know, why do pens disappear? Who's behind that? It obviously can't just be dumb luck, and it can't be humans. It must be something more sinister. So it's a yokai.
Let's just say it's nice to put a face to that rat bastard. Because how many times have I been in that position?
I don't know. Kevin?
I don't either. It's that often.
Kevin, do you want to, just for fun, or the other guy who's here, want to just give me some random idea? I'm going to do my best to talk and draw at the same time, which is not easy.
Well, Chibi Dicebotch had mentioned the Yuki-onna.
Right.
Which is probably one of the most famous of the yokai.
Right.
But in terms of something, or at least right now, because of the creepypasta, I should say, it's one of the most famous.
Well, I'm not going to draw that because it exists already.
Yep.
So give me an idea, maybe a modification.
Okay. Botch has a suggestion. How about a yokai whose primary habitat is women's purses?
Oh, actually, there's things like that. There's already purse monsters out there, by the way, just so you know. So I have to steer real clear away from what already exists that lives inside women's purses.
Given how, I mean, I'm a guy, I don't have a purse, obviously, but one, as one of our earlier guests has, as I've seen other writers, excuse me, not John, I'm thinking of somebody else, but has pointed out, you know, women finding anything specific in their purse. I mean, good Lord, my fiance has the one purse that she had when I first met her. There were days I expected one day to look over at her and see her like upside down up to her waist in her purse trying to find something. It was that big and hard to find things in.
That's good. That's good.
A purse is a bag of holding, according to Dicebot.
And half the fun of the creatures is thinking of how they work, what the logic is behind them. What is their motivation, if you will?
Indeed.
A lot of yokai are absolutely just mischievous. Not even necessarily dangerous, but just mischievous and annoying. And a lot of them are flat out lethal. And sometimes a combination of the two. Perhaps mischievous, but if you do the wrong thing, they could kill you.
Remind me a little of fairies in that whole, if you don't follow the rules very precisely, I wouldn't want to be you.
Right. Yep. Okay, I'm already on task, just so you know.
Excellent.
There's no time wasted here.
Now I have another suggestion when you're ready. When you're done with this one.
Who made this suggestion? Just so we can shout.
This was Chibi Dicebotch that made the purse suggestion.
Oh, Chibi. Okay, Chibi. Chibi, do you have any other favorite yokai?
We'll see if they got nothing so far.
All right, Chibi, this is coming along swimmingly. I think if I just say so myself.
That's another excellent suggestion from Chibi as well, which is they forget if there's a bunch regarding forgotten projects.
Oh yeah, forgotten projects.
That whole thing, I'm sure you do it. I do it. My fiance, every creator I know does it. Where you start something and you forget about it and you don't go back to it.
Oh, that's an artist's nightmare. Sure.
Yeah.
You just have a shelf. You have a big shelf. Everything goes on that shelf.
For that matter, how about the one that keeps giving you new ideas when you're trying to work on something?
Like you're doing to me right now.
Yeah. Well, you're the one who wants more input.
I'm teasing. All right. Okay, so these are going to be really fast because I see how it's going to be. So I'm going to draw them very quickly. I apologize how simplistic they might be.
Let's see this.
Okay. Coming up with a name is a whole nother process. That'll be for another time. But this creature lurks inside the bottom of women's purses. Okay, it's complete, cannot be seen, it's invisible, but only because, not because it has actual native invisibility powers, but it's always covered with stuff. So it's never seen. It's never ever been seen. Certainly no woman has ever seen it. What it does is it lays at the bottom of the purse and it mixes everything up in a constant tumultuous chaos so that nothing stays in the same spot for more than a second. So even if you go in there to get the lipstick, if you blink for a second, the lipstick will be somewhere else. Okay? The contents continually move around. Think of the inside of a washing machine. Okay? That's what this creature does. And to do it, it has this strange kind of like mixer-like thing growing out of its head, constantly churning inside the bag. Now you notice its shape fits snugly inside of the bottom of the bag, of course.
Naturally.
Yes. And these are little tiny little arms, flaps on the side.
Which is basically to start a new.
Streaming is on.
There isn't supposed to be a time limit to Jitsi, but apparently there kind of is. Sometimes.
Oh, really? I've been on here for like 2 hours at a time, no problem. You've been on a lot longer though.
True. We had it happen right after guest, right during our first guest, Virgo Triad.
Mm-hmm.
Right when our first and second guests came together, we had this happen, and now it just happened again.
Oh, it's good to know about it.
Yep.
So read up on that.
Yeah, go ahead and continue. I'm gonna let our other guests know what to do.
Don't worry about that.
Oh.
Hey, everybody.
But yeah, everything should be working normally.
All right, so this fits here. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, guys, so to elaborate slightly on this story, if you missed any of it, this creature lives at the bottom of women's purses, cannot be seen because it's always covered by stuff. And if a woman goes in there, or frankly anyone goes in there to try and get stuff, it uses its blender-like ability to kind of constantly move things around the purse, so you can never quite catch the thing you really want to get. Now the thing about this creature is you could theoretically get it out of your purse and remove the curse. Rhyme was unintentional. If you grab the little ends of it, the tiny little arms, and yank it out. But every woman who owns a purse knows about this and knows the risk, though, because if you put your hand in there, this blender type attachment will chop your hand off. sever your hand completely at the wrist. So women know that, of course. So that's why when they go in to get the thing out of the purse, if they can't find it soon enough, they just give up. They completely give up because they're not going to risk having their hand chopped off.
It makes sense.
It does? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of writing and drawing going at the same time here.
Excellent. No, I like that picture, Alex. Nice work.
Thanks. And it has like a little hole, sort of like a mouth. I'm not sure what that's for yet, but I'm going to figure that out. It's going to be for something. Something horrible.
Well, I mean, it's got to eat.
Oh, lint. It eats lint.
There you go.
Yeah. It survives.
Or wait, does it eat lint or does it excrete lint?
Oh.
Maybe it eats the change that you're always losing and it excretes it as lint.
This is not the same creature, but there's probably another creature that lives next to it that is constantly rubbing itself over your credit and debit card so the magnetic strip gets worn away.
Obviously, yes. Well, that's going to be a smaller one because it also clearly lives in men's wallets.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Is that a sexist comment? Are you saying the credit cards are only in the men's wallets?
No, I'm saying that it affects men and women, so it has to fit in wallets as well as purses.
Now, Chibi, you asked about dumping the contents. Now, the thing about that is if you try to just dump the contents of your bag out, the creature's going to cling to the inside of the bag. See, it's naturally purse-like shape, and it will not come out. It can't be taken out that way. It will mimic the lining of the bag, so you won't be able to see that it's there.
Yeah, that makes it. Yeah, again, this is clearly the culprit.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions, just throw them at me.
Well,
Anything.
There was Chibi's other suggestion about the what was it? Oh, right, the Forgotten Projects yokai.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, we need to talk about that.
Indeed.
Forgotten Projects. Do you want to be any more specific?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess you and I both as writers, I'm sure we could think of examples, but it does help to be a little more specific, I would think.
Oh, I can work with it. I'm just curious. Yeah. You got more subtle things to say about it.
I'll say the other one that occurred to me is another of the rat bastards of the yokai world. The one that always makes sure that the more you need a parking space, the harder it is to find one.
Yeah, if it hasn't already been done, I wanted to do a book simply called Modern Day Yokai, which is just about that kind of stuff. But I think it'd be really funny.
I don't even think it's necessarily a bad thing if it's already been done, because just because it's been done doesn't mean it hasn't been done by you.
That's true.
Chippy Dice Bot says, I do writing, crochet, and other little things like that. But ADHD Shiny keeps pulling me away, leaving them abandoned.
All right, we'll get to that one too. Right now, I'm working on the Forgotten Project thing.
Yes, I think that was their elaboration.
Oh, I see.
Forgotten Projects.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Granted, that's a whole other school of art that's been going on for a long time, is anthropomorphizing various mental health issues.
Oh, yes.
Which has been done very well and extremely creepily, more than once.
Well, in Japan, they have mascots, of course, for everything. Doesn't matter what it is, there's a mascot for it. I believe there's Corona-related mascots, too.
I would assume so at this point.
Like provide inspiration, to cheer kids up or anybody. I mean, it's pretty common. And also in Japan, on the flip side, yes, there's monsters that are used to represent things. For instance, there's a thing in Japan called local kaiju, where different towns, different regions, it's kind of a tourist thing, will have a monster designed to represent their area, and then they may sell even toys of it or whatever. It's for income, for tourism income. Okay,
Yeah.
I almost got this creature here. All right, so again, there'll be no names for these things, not yet, anyway. That's true, Chibi. There's the Amabi. Amabi is the famous one. I drew an Amabi a while back for a kind of contest thingy, which I can show you if I get to it. It's real simple. Here's my version of the Amabi, which is a traditional yokai, which I will show you in a second. I will share my screen for a second. There you go. If you guys can see that. See if that shows up. That's an Amabi, my version of an Amabi.
And there we go. It showed up pretty nicely,
Okay.
I think, in YouTube.
Oh, cool. If I remember the story correctly, it's a sea creature, of course. I'm trying to remember the story exactly, but there was a fisherman or somebody who walked out into a lake or into the sea and just stumbled upon this thing, saw a light or something on the water and went out to see what it was. And this creature, it's been a while. This creature, one of the things it said is that, oh yes, this creature, one of its many attributes was that if the man ran into anyone that was deathly ill or had a disease, they would be cured. And then, in fact, if he he showed them a picture, like a drawing of the creature, of the Amabi, it would cure disease in the land. So the Amabi's kind of the point is we're getting a recursive video feedback. I don't know if you see it. Part of the point was that the Amabi needed to be drawn. Someone had to draw it and had to keep drawing it. So a lot of artists right now around the world are drawing their version of the Amabi as a kind of fight against the virus.
Oh,
I created a recursive video thing. Can you see that?
yes, I see.
Okay. Okay, so back to the creature, the hidden projects creature, lost projects creature.
I can also update people real fast. Yes, the scheduling snafu was completely cleared up without my input. Daker's going to be on at 6:15.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, now this creature, I guess, it's funny. It's got it's mirror flip when I show it. Okay, this creature has that huge veil, a huge cape kind of thing coming down forward, and it takes all your projects, or it takes see the kind of sneaky hands at the bottom of its tail, grabs projects that you've turned away from even just for a second, and puts them behind itself, behind that cloak, and stores them. And it stores them inside this box. So it has a box back there filled with all those projects that you have forgotten about. You didn't forget about them at all. It just stole them and hid them in its box. Now the reason, the thing about that is there could be tons of them in there, and you'll never know it unless you manage to pull back that curtain. But how would you know where it is? The creature disguises itself as an ordinary curtain or piece of drapery. So if you go through your house and pull down all your drapes, you might get your projects back. Might. So that's what's going on.
So quick, go run around when we're done for the night. Tear down all of the drapes in your house.
Absolutely.
So you find those missing projects.
Yes. This is like that soupy sales scandal, if you know what I'm talking about. I just learned.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, it could be your parents' wallets. Get all those green pieces of paper and send them.
People should do that too. So kids, go into your parents' wallets, take out the nice green pieces of paper with the pictures on them, and send them to Save the Children, the charity that we're supporting.
Yeah, you go.
They need the money more than we do, and they're trying to help kids all over the world who are sick. So,
Actually, this particular yokai was actually hired by the company Blinds to Go, so that they can go around bringing down window dressing, so they have to go buy blinds. Yeah. So it really it has two appendages. It has the one appendage it's holding up, like Dracula, with its cloak, and the other one is the long, snaky tail-like appendage at the bottom. It uses to steal stuff.
So the obvious question this raises is it going sneaking around going, I want to steal your projects?
Well, it's a very long. I can assume that arm elongates for incredibly long distance. So, for instance, it could be hanging in one of your windows on the first floor of your house, say in the living room, and you're way up on the second floor or third floor in the bathroom, and that arm can reach all of it. So it's hard to figure out which window the creature's coming from because the arm can go so far.
So again, kids, tear down all of those blinds.
Now, you want to get rid of this thing because the truth is, it has a scheme. The scheme is if it holds onto your things more than 50 years, the common copyright laws go out. It becomes public domain. So your ideas will become public domain after 50 years, which they would anyway. But it doesn't matter.
I think we're gonna when we do. If you're joining us for the free for all, if our other writer friends join in, we're gonna have to see if any of them have spotted this creature in their house.
Yes. So this is the creature that lives at the bottom of women's purses and mixes things up so they can never find what they're looking for. And this is the creature that steals all the projects you're working on when you're not looking and hides them and disguises itself as a drape in your house. Now, also, if you're an artist, a writer, and you're the kind of rebel like I am sometimes, this explains why you'll have no drapes in your house anyway. No window coverings whatsoever. Maybe a piece of cardboard. Cardboard that's why artists put up cardboard in their windows. It's not because they're poor.
It's to keep that thing at bay.
Yeah.
It's also clearly why for most of the time I've lived in my apartment a little over a year now, I haven't had drapes up either.
Right, of course. That sounds like a real man cave, actually. All right, Chibi, did you also ask about the shiny objects thing? Is that correct?
Yes, the ADHD shiny thing.
Okay, writing, crochet, other things like that, but ADHD shiny.
Nothing against Chibi, but I do want to point out we've got 4 people watching, only one of whom is
That's
you.
okay. Well,
so if anyone else has I just want to encourage anyone else who might have an idea to chime in.
Yes, let me reiterate the concept. I'm a kaiju, yokai creature designer in general, and the fun interactive thing we're doing today is that I'm taking suggestions from the vast audience and to design yokai, original creatures. Yokai represent things, typically. Sometimes they're human fears, sometimes they're strange natural phenomena, sometimes they're objects that have grown powerful because they're too old, have been around too long. There's all kinds of things that can generate a yokai. So I'm actually taking suggestions. My wife gave me some suggestions earlier, so I was drawing one. I drew one that was a well, I can't. I did so many today. I was trying to. But so, for example, this one was about why do women can't find things in their purse because this thing is at the bottom. And so I'm open to suggestions if you have any ideas. We'll draw them live as fast as humanly possible.
You seem pretty quick, so it's working well. I mean,
yeah. Okay, work intending. Chibi, what do you mean by work intending? Bartending?
I have no idea.
Okay, I will work on the shiny objects thing while I'm waiting for more suggestions.
Well, I could also do the one we were talking about earlier, the credit card demagnetizer.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
Oh, apparently they meant tandem, not tending.
Ah, okay. Typos will kill us all.
Yeah. Or no, it's even worse. It's the most hated of all yokai.
Yeah.
The autocorrect yokai.
Yeah. Go on.
That's why they came up with
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You're right about that.
It's like talk about creatures that were born in the very fires of hell. No, autocorrect yokai. I never mean ducking. 43 years I have never meant ducking.
Well, yeah, yokai for the kind of digital age is a whole nother thing. Yeah. All right. I'm working on the shiny things. It's coming together. It's coming together fine.
Excellent. And hey, just because the world's updated its technology doesn't mean the scary things of the past just went away.
Yeah, why would they, right? If you think about it, the human world, civilization, whatever you want to call it, to me, it's just a thin layer on top of the natural world. The natural world is still as strong as ever. So, I mean, why would all the phenomena of the natural world be gone?
And the supernatural world, for that matter. Let's
Yeah,
not get
right. I mean, we
places, for lack of a better word.
Humans haven't been on the earth that long. Why would you think that stuff would be gone?
Indeed.
Okay.
I mean, hell, Patrick, our last guest, talks in more than one story, but yes, hell does have its own, not only its own webpage, but its own spam and viruses.
Okay, all right, Chibi and whoever else. This is the sparkly thing. Now, the idea here is when you're trying to concentrate and work on anything, you don't need to have ADHD to have this problem, by the way. It's pretty common. Most people are attracted to shiny. Let's face it, shiny whatever, sparkles, right? I'd say almost everybody. You're probably not human if you're not. Maybe not like a hummingbird, but you can't resist that if you're in a dark room, you're going to gravitate towards the shiny object. Now, if you're trying to concentrate on something, and let's suppose you're in broad daylight, and there's lots of just kind of normal, everyday things around you, but they're not necessarily distracting you too much, because you're used to that. You become acclimated to it. Like, look at my office. So I'm acclimated to it. There's 1,000 things that could distract me, but I'm used to them. So they don't necessarily distract me from what I'm trying to do. I'm used to them. What the problem is if something surprises you, catches you at first. That's when you really get distracted. And there's a creature that lives in your house, many houses, especially houses that are filled with a lot of stuff, cluttery, hoarders' houses, for example. Or houses that are dirty, haven't been cleaned all the time. The people that have spotlessly clean houses probably don't have this problem. But they could if they're not careful. This creature finds all the dust in your house, all the dust, the things that have not been dusted, all the dust bunnies under the couch, but even the tiniest particle of debris, invisible to the naked eye, probably, the tiniest particles, and it magnifies them so that psychologically you can see them where you normally could not see them, and they're bright like diamonds. Okay? The more dust you have in your house, the more chances this creature can do that. And when it does that, you're going to see these sparkly objects. At least you think you're going to see sparkly objects, and you will not be able to concentrate on anything. So here's the creature. It hangs out in your house, usually in a corner, sometimes, of course, under the couch, where there's a lot of dust. And it has a lamprey-like mouth, and a kind of mirror inside its mouth. And it's like a lens. It takes the image of the dust, the smallest dust particles, and enlarges them mentally into your brain. It doesn't actually make them look bigger to anybody else, just to the victim. So it's a little bit like a leech, magnifying lens creature. Now, the only way to get rid of it, obviously, is to dust your house completely. The trick about this thing is, though, it will find the smallest particle. There can be no dust except one tiny mote of dust. It will find it. So the only way to really, really get rid of this creature is, basically move out of your house.
Not just that, you're going to have to move into a clean room.
Yeah, well, maybe in space. If you're in outer space where there's no dust, I guess, maybe.
The moon's covered in dust, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You know what? It's probably where this thing's home is.
Yeah. They're moon yokai.
Yeah, right.
But no, yeah, pretty much the clean rooms, the cleanest places on the planet where they do work on high expensive electronics. That's where to avoid this guy.
Oh, right. Yeah. Hermetically sealed chambers, for example.
Yep.
Well, maybe one day we'll all be in hermetically sealed chambers. Could happen.
Could happen.
Sorry.
I'm not sure it'll be great for the human race, but it could happen.
For a second.
So this sounds like that'll be the space aliens doing it.
So,
sorry.
The problem is you don't want to be an obsessive compulsive duster either, because that's good.
No.
So your best way to deal with this is to come to terms with it and learn to live with it. You cannot destroy it, not unless you're in hermetically sealed environments like the boy in a plastic bubble. Remember that movie?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So the best way is for humans to get along with this creature, and that's the real story. Because the way to get along with this creature is to feed it dust. Make sure there's plenty of dust in your house. It won't leave. But on the other hand, it's not going to want to torture you as much.
So be messy. That's
learn to love your own mess. It's not a vicious monster. It's just an annoying monster. And again, if you guys are joining us, just chat your suggestions, and we'll draw a yokai on demand.
Although I keep in mind we probably have enough time for one more, given
fair enough.
We've got Digger Stoker coming on at 6:15.
Yep, I know.
Well, I also want to remind our listeners. Yes, and we're going to continue the bright, cheery topics, going from monsters to color epidemics.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Where's a good color epidemic when you need one?
He's going to tell us the story of a story Bram Stoker's mother told him about a cholera epidemic that probably inspired the novel Dracula.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So Dracula's kind of like a yokai. Kind of a
Wouldn't he qualify by Japanese? I mean...
Oh, well, there's plenty of vampires in Japanese mythology, too, of course. Just like
the Zhangshi.
Do you find it interesting that there's vampires in like just about every culture?
It is, and I mean, going all the way back through time, there's always the stories of the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And more specifically, the hungry dead, the dead that come back to get something from the living. Well, also there's ghost stories in every culture as well, and there's demons, evil spirits. There's certain themes in mythology that recur all over the world. The demon, the vampire, the shape changer,
sea serpents.
Yes. Dragons in general, for that matter.
Yeah, right.
And it gets interesting, from a folklorist and from a paranormal investigator story. It gets interesting because you can go to, Africa or the Middle East and see a statue of something that people worshipped as a god. They go to South America and see a very similar statue that they called the demon, or vice versa. Yeah. It's also one of the and yes, it should be Dice Bodge pointed out beautifully, all sorts of keening women all throughout the world.
Oh, sorts of what? Oh,
keening. Oh. Yes. Like the banshee of Scottish folklore. Or Irish folklore. Or both, in fact. Banshees.
Yeah, well, that makes sense to me, too, because it seems like a universal understanding. The idea of a screaming banshee. I think everybody's had to deal with that in their lives.
And we'll just, they're usually associated with that idea of that they foretell of death. Well, what happens when somebody dies? Lots of people cry and wail.
Right. I'm going to, all right, I finished this monster. I'm going to show it. I'm going to paste in the chat. I'm going to paste I have a blog. One of the things I have a blog where I draw and upload monsters constantly. And
yes, please share, and I'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah, it's just called it's actually called the Cyber Gecko Kaiju Gallery, but I just pasted the URL in there. It's basically creatures I've worked on for different projects in the past. A lot of them are from different projects. Some of them haven't been in the project yet. It's a real mix. Some of them are old, some of them are new. Anyway, so you guys might have fun checking it out. There's hundreds of them on there. It's kind of overwhelming, but they pretty much all have really unusual backstories, which are included on the blog, of course. All right, now.
And our next guest has just joined us.
Hey, what's up? All right, hi, fellow Joker. Okay, the last creature for today. All right, this is a creature that lives in a purse, in a wallet. Actually, it's not that small. What it tends to do, though, is go through a purse or go through a wallet and take out your credit cards and debit cards and whatnot, and your loyalty cards, all the things with magnetic strips, okay?
Yes, indeed.
Tends to do that at nighttime when you're not, using them. Okay, though these days people stay up all night and order from Amazon, so it's probably a little different. But this creature is a very mischievous, kind of naughty creature that takes your cards out in the middle of the night and rubs its buttocks in a weird fashion. And what it's trying to do is wear out the magnetic strip of the card so that it's a little more worn the next time you use it. It's really doing this for its own pleasure. There's no anything more malicious beyond that. And also for cards that are a little more modern that have the chip in them, it has little tiny hands up here that scratches the chip with too to make sure it gets the thing. So this thing can be found. Actually, ATM machines. They hang around ATM machines or bank lobbies. They actually were created, according to the legend, by a greedy bank executive who wanted people to constantly have to reorder new copies of their credit and debit cards. So, that's how they started, and they run around and they finally hop into your car or wherever and get back to your house and live there. And every night they do this to your cards. Every night.
That explains it.
Yeah, it explains it. So,
okay, Alex,
have fun.
I want to thank you for joining us. This is
a
lot of fun. It's always fun hanging out with you. Keep in mind, of course, we've got Dacre Stoker on tap, and then we've got Arthur Moyer, and then we'll be doing the free-for-all at 8:15. Do try to come back if you can. Give Harriet my best as well.
Okay, we'll do.
I saw her sneaking through from time to time.
Oh, yeah. No, hi, Dacre.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good luck.
We're good. We're having fun.
We having fun so far?
Oh, yes.
I'll get off of here. But I'll stay on YouTube for a while.
Yes, awesome.
Okay.
Dacre, you don't have to do anything. You can just stay put, but I'm going to close on YouTube and reopen so that you have your own video. Everybody gets their own video. That way people can go just to who they want to see instead of having to watch through
I got
9 hours.
I'll sit tight.
Yep, only takes a second. Okay, folks listening, just remember, just switch to the next video. We've got more to come.